Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, 4 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. All right, I haven't done one of these videos in quite a long time. I'd like to believe it's because incidents of police brutality, police violence have gone down. I don't know. Maybe they're not as prominent with everything else that's going on right now. One thing I just want to mention, I didn't plan on talking about this, but there has been mass shootings almost every single day for the last week. California, Texas, the subway thing in New York, it was yesterday. A grandmother was killed here, sitting just not far from here, Waterbury, Connecticut. A grandmother was shot to death 2 days ago. Incidents of gun violence seem to be going through the roof. I wasn't planning on talking about that. What I want to talk about is this is just, I don't even know what to say about this. I'm uncomfortable sometimes talking about these videos. I leave this kind of stuff to like Bo the Fifth Column, police procedure and stuff like that. 'Cause I just don't feel comfortable when it comes to stuff like drugs or smuggling or stuff like that. Stuff or altercations, stuff that I've gone through. I feel more comfortable talking about that. But this one is just off the charts, brutal. It's basically an execution. Grand Rapids, Michigan police officer. He hasn't been identified yet because, according to the police chief, until there's charges filed, unless there's charges filed, they don't plan on identifying this police officer. I'm sure the name's going to come out though. This was April 4th. Patrick Lyoya. Patrick Lyoya. Lyoya. 26 years old. You can see I got the video right down below. This stop was initially over supposedly license plate not supposed to be on that car. That's all this was over. Wrong license plate on the car. I used to do this all the time. I mean, I hate not bragging or anything, but back when I was using, my money, I couldn't. My money went for other things other than insurance or registration, and I commonly did this. It makes me wonder: would the same thing happen to me, being a white guy or a Native American white guy? Okay, so in this video, you'll see the whole thing. As soon as Patrick gets pulled over, he gets out of the car. Now, I learned at a very young age, probably when I was 16, not to get out of the car. So the officer then asks him for his driver's license. It's kind of obvious that Patrick might not have a driver's license. At this point, I think the officer has some options how to de-escalate this. This unless he has proof or suspicion of some other crime, why not just tow the car at this point? Prevent the car from leaving. You got the guy. You have Patrick on your vest cam. You can identify him at a later date if he chooses to run or not comply. This is all over the license plate, wrong license plate on a car. Just take the car. Then if there happens to be any kind of contraband in the car. I mean, I understand the tactic that by paying attention to small crimes, a lot of times police capture bigger crimes. Like, for instance, back when I was using or transporting different materials that I shouldn't have, I learned right away that not to break any traffic laws, to have the car completely legal, because it's little things like that to lead to the bigger things. And in that case, I could understand the officer wanting to investigate this further. But what happened next is just off the charts. So Patrick doesn't assault the officer, doesn't assault the officer at all. The officer then pulls out his taser. Patrick grabs the taser. There's a lot of back and forth. Now, this is one thing that I realized too, having gotten in a lot of altercations, it's amazing how much energy is expended in those seconds. Just one minute of that kind of altercation, and it's like, it's like running 5 miles, and you could hear that the officer's tired, Patrick's tired. They get to the point where they're just exhausted and they can't even move anymore, which is more the reason that this shouldn't have happened, that they were both exhausted. It gets to the point where the officer's camera shuts off and then miraculously turns back on, reactivates after Patrick was assassinated, executed. Apparently, this was captured on other vest cams or dash cams after the officer's vest cam turned off. What happened was apparently the officer drew his gun and put a round in the back of Patrick's head while he was face down on the ground. And this officer hasn't been arrested yet. And the thing that gets me here is this was over a license plate. Unless there's something we don't know about. This is over a license plate. And when I look at this, I could understand how African American people, especially like African American fathers or parents, would be so worried about their kids going out, leaving the house if they're driving. Something this small. If your kid gets his driver's license and goes out, gets pulled over for something, and he panics. And next thing you know, this could happen. I think, as I watch this, I think a lot of it, again, has to do with empathy. I think there's a lack of empathy between the officer and the person and Patrick. I think perhaps maybe if this was a Caucasian person, if this was somebody that looked like that officer's family, somebody that officer could empathize with, his brother, his cousin. I'm not making excuses for the officer at all. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on in their heads. In this case, was he really fearing for his life? No. I don't know what this guy was thinking. I don't know why he did this. I don't even have an answer for this. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know what else to say about this, other than I have a feeling that if this was a Caucasian person that looked like somebody, this officer, just another person, let's say it looks like somebody in that officer's family, he would have been a lot less likely to do this. How do you change that in policing? Like I said, I think this just being over a goddamn license plate. You could have just towed the car and then have him taken in at a later date, have Patrick taken into custody at a later date to answer for it. Or just suspend his license. If they impound the car, there's nothing else in the car, just suspend his license. If he has no license, then take him into custody when the opportunity comes up. This shouldn't have happened. I don't know. All right, let me know what you guys think. Have a good Thursday.